and welcome to the first game in a best of three. This was held in the Goblin Cluckfest 4 last night, Kansas City Shuffle. And this is held between Elf here in the blue Infernal, and up in the top right here, we are going to have Garnath in the red Celestial, sorry. We've got Elf's Hexen moving across the map, but not going to be able to see that Garnath has his Morph Car moving also across the map, probably up to no good, so we can keep an eye on that. Those Celestials always up to no good. And we've got our our Infernal player with the Hexen in for a scout. Now, this is actually, I think if you are scouting with your Hexen and you see this setup, you've got a Prism on gas, you should expect something weird going on, and that's exactly what's going on over here. Garnath is playing, well, started attacking those trees and then changed his mind. It looks like maybe either looking for a new place or might try and grab one of these. I've seen Celestial players sometimes upgrade their Arc Station and then use Evolution Catalyst to claim one of these. Do we have an upgrade for our Arcs? Oh yeah, so that looks like that's tier 2 now. We use the Evolution Catalyst to capture this tower, and then the Morph Core is going to go back to whatever nefarious Morph Core business has had to do. Of course, what do we got from Elf on the other side here? We've got some Gaunts out, and we cleared the health cam. We got some Fiends, it looks like, and we've got a farm over here to help clear this camp. I believe at the moment these camps are still bugged, so they don't do very much damage. So yeah, these hogs are actually going to be able to clear the camp themselves, and I think Elf is happy to do that. Meanwhile, over here we have a Legion Hall, and we have the first of the Seraphim out. So this build is meant to get Seraphim out early. Now, Elf noticed that Prism on gas when she did the scout with her Hexen. She might be ready for the Seraphim, and I think that might be the case, because you notice she's gone ahead and moved her army back into her base. And maybe she's expecting that Seraphim to come, but she doesn't want to miss out on any creeping. Oh, she probably saw it flying over here over her camp, and she's come out to try and see if she can kill that Seraphim, which of course would be great, because these early Seraphim, they're meant for harass, they're meant to get a little bit of a map control and creeping advantage. But I think Elf had the right build, possibly with that good early scout, to recognize, hey, I need some Gaunts and some anti-air. Now this Skull of Cheddar tried to chase them down, but it looks like Garnath has decided, alright, I'm going to transition out of a harass play. You can sometimes just win the game if your opponents are not prepared for this. One Seraphim going down right there, that is unfortunate for Garnath. You want to keep these alive. If you can get a small force together, they become a good map control and creeping force. And it looks like Elf, it has got a pretty good force of her own. I think these Gaunts here are definitely going to allow her to at least stay out on the map, not be afraid of running into those Seraphim. It's the other way around. The Seraphim should probably be worried about running into those Gaunts. And I like this as well. She sent a single Fiend over to recapture this, so that was used in the early game to get some more Therium for Garnath, but now it's serving Elf. That's going to be good for her. And alright, so where are these Seraphim going now? Maybe they're just going to come back and claim this, but now there's enough of them that, yeah, they might actually go ahead and take out this one as well. You can see they're actually pretty good at creeping. I believe it's because they have bonus damage against creeps. Not sure if that's exactly true, maybe I made that up. If not, they might have bonus against heavy, which might be what's giving them that extra damage. This one's gone ahead over here to say, get out of here, you fiends, so I can claim both of these camps at the same time and regain that income, which of course is very useful, especially for Garnath at the moment. who appears to be on one base. Yeah, we've got fiends camping out here trying to keep this safe. We've got a scanner over here. Now, the scanners are not quite as abusive as they were in the last patch. They can still capture, but not when they're invisible. So they can't just hold down a bunch of camps on the map by being invisible in the trees. Still, this Legion Hall is not being taken out by Elf, and so we still have more Seraphim coming out of it. Elf is going ahead and put down her third base here. And I think this is really good, again, with only one base coming out of Garnath at this point. Although, what do we have here? Are these upgrades, or we're constructing still? We have not yet quite got the Guardian Nexus complete. But the Guardian Nexus is good for upgrades. Oh, and this is interesting. We have an Aeon Gate. I didn't notice this. We have an Arc Fortress here. That's tier 3. And an Aeon Gate is like a Nidus. And so we have an Aeon Gate here. Not exactly sure what the plan is with this. Usually you want to have an army that goes through the gate. I haven't actually seen one of these in any of the games that I've played or cast, so this is definitely interesting. Otherwise, it looks like our Seraphim are just trying to capture, and now we have some Spriggans out on the map for Elf. Where is the rest of Elf's army? Sitting back home. Okay, so these Spriggans are out to maybe do a harass, but I think they're definitely a great answer to these Seraphim, because Seraphim cannot hit Spriggans, but Spriggans can hit Seraphim. And these Spriggans look like they're going straight for the base. And when they get back here, they're going to realize, hey, there's not actually a collection right here to harass. Going right into the base, there are some Argents, but that's really the only defense there that Garnath can muster, again, because those Seraphim cannot hit the Spriggans. And now we see the Archship being taken out. Now these Prisms are also under attack. They're going to go down really quickly. We do have a Sovereign's Watch coming out on top of the Arc Fortress, but these Prisms could, focus it down. I don't really know what the DPS, if it could out DPS that Sovereign's Watch, but certainly they can just go ahead and move away, realizing they got some pretty good damage in there, killing some Prisms, and also taking out that one Arc ship. Alright, back home, we've still got mining here, mining going on at all the bases. We've got upgrades, we've got double Twilight Spire for that Spriggan production, and now these Spriggans, I think, are going to find, yes, here they find the Legion Hall, finally taking it out, although I think it's no longer as much of a use for Garnath, who's going to want to produce some anti-air to take care of these Spriggans. This is an invisible Aeon Gate, so was not spotted. I think if they get really close to it, they might be able to see it. I know that's true with some units. Okay, now what do we have over here? Okay, the Seraphim coming back out. Pretty brave, I think, but Garnath is going to need something to get back into this game. And, well, I thought he might go for some harass here, but it looks like he's content to maybe just get some income off of these creeps, because, again, on one base looks like now mining from a second base as well. Garnath needs income, and creep income is good, and of course he does have these two towers up here that he is managing to keep with this scanner, even though these fiends here are trying to capture it back. And still creeping over here, and it looks like Elf is going to go do some creeping of her own. And yes, not a lot of action here, although we do see these Spriggans now moving back across the map. And are they going to run into these Seraphim? Maybe thinking, maybe to take out this scanner. They know the scanner's been causing them problems here, and the scanner turns invisible, but how was it? How was Elf able to see? Well, she's had a couple of these shadow flyers, and they are detectors. Putting down a base behind this, and now moving back for some harass, noticing that there's an Archangel there. Archangels, of course, being that nice late game unit for the Celestials. And it looks like we do have mining from this base as well. So Garnath is mining, going for an interesting prism-based strategy as opposed to what a lot of Celestials do, which is to use collection arrays. And now we do have these Spriggans finding some of these poor Seraphim out in the map and catching at least one. The map control now definitely in favor of Elf, who is, while she has her Spriggans on one side of the map, she's now also creeping down on this other side of the map with her ground army, which is actually growing here. It looks to be mostly tier 1 at this point, although a lot of those gaunts, remember, are probably left over from the early game. She didn't lose those in an attack, she just kept them back home while she had her Spriggans out on the map. And again, Spriggans out here creeping, adding even more Spriggans. Probably noting that with some of that early harass, getting some of that early win, she can get ahead by just building her armor stronger. Again, getting ahead on the map control and coming back for more harass. There's another arc ship. It's going to go down. When you are going for that prism style, that's the idea behind the arc ships. Is the arc ship can help you produce prisms at a faster rate and get that income up to substitute when you haven't built any collection arrays. So looks like this Archangel did get some harass in, although now it's been chased to the corner of the map. And these Spriggans, it's out of the vision of the Spriggans, so it might be able to get away on that one. If it can get back to its base, it can hopefully heal up and come back out for some more harass. Now these Spriggans in the middle catching another Seraphim. A couple Seraphim, it looks like. These Seraphims at this point look like they were just mostly being sent out to maybe capture some towers or get some scouting done, as opposed to anything else. And so in that role, they're pretty much sacrificial units, and so losing them is not necessarily that bad, although losing them without gaining their goal of getting the scouting or the capture that you're going for could be seen as a loss. Alright, Elf here, seemingly happy at the moment to do a little bit of a contain with these units, although now moving forward and jumping on top of these Archangels, it looks like they're doing some pretty good DPS on the Archangels, although leaving that Archangel low, and then now just sitting on top of the Argents and trying to get as many kills on top of them as possible, while this Arc Fortress is on top as well, passing down its healing, and that's a GG from Garnath. Alright, so we have Elf up 1 in this best of 3 from the Goblin Cluckfest, number 4. And again, these are our opponents here today. In the Red Infernal, we have Elf, and in the Blue Celestial, we have Garnath. And I'm pretty sure that these two have met before in other tournaments. At least they have both played in most of the Goblin Cluckfest before, and so they're probably familiar with each other's playstyle. If not from tournaments, they're also likely to have met each other on the ladder. So let's see what we get from game 2. And again, we have the Hexen on the scouting mission here on Isle of Dread. Again, I maybe might point out that this is a newer version of Isle of Dread that has the FGS Frost Giant Studios has responded to the feedback of players that this was a very unpopular map, and at least for me, and I think maybe this may have been voiced in some of the feedback, is that I found this map to be a cool map, even though it was unpopular. I didn't really like to play on it. I wished it was good, is sort of what it was. So they rebuilt it. They added some trees back here, and put some Ethereum nodes over here, and that was enough to make it at least enough to hopefully change its playstyle a bit and maybe make it more popular among the players. I have not played it yet myself, so I don't really know how I favor it, but I guess we'll wait and see. We got some creeping here from Elf with her initial gaunts on the Shadow Mastiff speed camp. This is usually the first camp to take, but I hate taking it because it's kind of a hard one. It's a little chaotic with the way the Shadow Mastiffs run around. We got the same thing coming out of Garnath up here, except notice a different build. He's got units out on the map, not Seraphim like last game, instead going for these Kree, and Kree with some changes in the last patch. Let's call it a buff because they got more hit points. And I think there might have been one other change, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But that makes them a little bit more tanky. And also, Kree have always been pretty good against Infernals in my mind. And because Elf played a pretty Gaunt heavy play in the last one, I think that these Kree are a good choice because Gaunt, of course, being light, and Kree with the bonus to light. Now these Kree are now rolling across the map. We see that they have the rollout upgrade. Where are they headed? It's interesting. I thought they might have been doing aggression. Or, okay, I like this. So they are going for aggression. They were just checking, can I catch Elf out creeping and maybe get on top of those creeps, get some less kills, or more importantly, get on top of those gaunts and get some gaunts. Now, it's just fiends up here creeping this vision camp, and indeed these Krees are going to roll up on it, and they will easily take out those fiends and then sort of jack this camp and jack the vision tower, while the rest of Elf's army is back home. And interestingly, she has sort of a little bit of a mini wall. Oh, and there we go, adding another farm to that wall, maybe anticipating the Kree. Her initial scout came in, and I'm not necessarily on her level, but I think she may, I thought that initial scout looked just like the Seraphim build. Maybe she goes this regardless against a Celestial, or maybe she did scout one of these chambers. If you see the chamber, then you know that Morph Core was used for the chamber. And it's probably not Seraphim. But if you go home and you see some gas mining and you see some, you don't see the Morph Core, you don't see an extra collection array, I would be thinking Seraphim. I like this. She's staying at home, content to sort of get her economy balanced out, and let's see, get a little bit of tech going. So we see a shrine going up to a greater shrine. We see a ritual chamber, and this should be plague axes going down. And now we do see those back trees being chopped down. And again, I like a nice safe play against these Kree. We have a wall with a brute in the back, and we've got again a nice little choke here. And immediately she puts the choke, she puts a nice meat farm there to add some defense. So if these Kree come, and now we see the Kree come, so now we have a chance to put this to the test. And yeah, right away adds the brute there. And these Kree get out, a couple of them getting on top of the gaunts, but some good micros, some good splits on those gaunts, moving back the ones on the front line and allowing the ones in the back line to continue firing. A few of those Kree are going to explode on top of the gaunts. It looks like maybe one of those gaunts going down as a result. And 4 Kree rolling away from that. Not sure. A good little harass there. Not sure which way the trade went. Maybe ending up close enough to even that's not going to tilt us in any one way. We have a fiend out scouting on the map, trying to see if there's a third, and if so, where is it? Of course, this base has not yet been taken. For Celestials, it's still a popular base to take, as you can still float your arc ship over here and take out this creep camp with your laser beam if you like. That's not what happened in this game, of course, but yeah, this fiend's just trying to see what's going on. And what do we have here? A Kree out on the map, maybe looking again to see if get some information about where's Elf's army, what's his composition, maybe get some interference on some creeping, something like that. This fiend coming into this base and realizing, yes, this base is up and there's a laser beam coming out of it, but also getting a scan on the Star Forges. Now, Star Forges could mean a couple things. That looks like at the moment they mean sabers. So the scout on the Star Forges is not necessarily enough until you see what units are actually coming out of them. At this stage of the game, you can probably guess it's not likely to be a vector. I mean, I'm not 100% sure they're not useful in the later game, but they tend to see more use in the early game. That's a lot of Kree here, retaking this speed camp. And now we've got the first sabers out on the map. And what do we see as the answer from Elf? I like this re-walling off. More conclave. So it looks like this is going to be a conclave-based composition for the most part, at least, because we see we've got weavers being added to the gaunts that have been there since the early game. So this is a nice play with the new Gaunt Infest mechanic. She lured the Shadow Mastiffs out onto the Shroud so that she could get a couple Fiends out of that. And then again, great Fiend control and use, sending those Fiends out for scouting and to capture some towers. One scouting Kree comes in here, notices, hey, there's a couple Weavers, there's still some Gaunt. Not seeing too much else, and these Kree rolling away from the health camp with a lot of those debuffs on them from the slimes that they just finished killing. And there I am, proven wrong. I said, I don't think we're going to see vectors coming out of there, and there we do. We got some vectors. So clearly I needed a few more hours playing Celestial to understand this meta a little bit better. Of course, I am mostly an Infernal player, so I don't really understand the meta for the other factions as well. And now we've got Spriggans. Okay, so Spriggans, like last game, coming out of Elf, managing to get into the back onto this array, taking out the array before these nodes are able to be upgraded to strike nodes. And now we do have some vectors. I do believe vectors are good anti-air. At least they do hit air, which, you know, the best kind of anti-air is the kind that hits the air. That's good. And these Spriggans pull back, recapture the health camp, and it looks like they're going to be rejoined by their army. At least their army's going to come camp here as well. And maybe we're going to see a larger push now coming from Elf. Another scout Kree taken out along the way. Meanwhile, Garnath's force is also creeping, taking out this vision tower. And we now see kind of a nice mixture of units here. Kree, Argent, Vectors, and the Sabers in the back. And Elf also just doing some creeping, adding a few more Weavers as well. There's a couple other extra Brutes up front to do some body blocking for those squishy gaunts. Ooh, that was sort of a loud sound effect there as that effigy died. And it looks like also a base going down at that Therium node, or double Therium node, I should say. Little, let's call it a scout force, because I think what it really is a misrallied force, or a force that decided to take the dangerous way around. Okay, perhaps Garnath was anticipating a little bit of a push after seeing the vision camp take in. You know, you can kind of track on how your opponent's army is moving around the map by watching which camps are being taken. In a way, it's a little bit of a map hack. And I have seen a post or two of that on the Discord saying, hey, take that away. I shouldn't be able to see what's going on at the other camps. You know, I don't feel strongly one way or another about it. Of course, who doesn't like a little bit of information about your opponent's army movement? Um, and I think it might also help to stimulate some interaction. Like it's exactly what I think we saw going on here with Garnath. Garnath saw Elf taking some of these towers and thought, oh, maybe her army's going to move on me. I better move my army into a position, and that could have That kind of interaction could have resulted in a fun clash of armies, some skirmish, maybe a full battle. And here we have a brave Argent. He's just coming in saying, I'm here. I'm here to do harass. They sent me out as a scout, but no. I'm a harass, and look, I did my job. I forced a super Shoutstone summon because Elf didn't want to move her army this far up to take it out. And that might be the right move. How do you know that that wasn't going to be a bait of some kind to bait your army out of position so you can get flanked or otherwise get some damage done? Oh, speaking of which, it looks like we had some Spriggans up here trying to do some harass on a base up here. I'm not sure if there was a base there, but they certainly found some vectors up there. And now rejoining with the rest of the Infernal host. And we watch as this Celestial Ball, which is getting pretty big, a lot of sabers, lots of Argents, still a nice roly-poly front line, along with some vectors. It's a nice composition that I think, considering that Elf is marching with her own sort of special composition over here, that Garnath may have found something that might work. So let's see what's going to happen now as Garnath is indeed pushing into this big force from Elf, and we've got a nice battle going with some Purifies in the back. We got Elf moving back onto the Shroud, and then now using that top bar ability to bring Shroud down onto everything. You see some good lashes going down, bringing those sabers to the front line so that the Weavers can stomp them down and stun them, but so the Gaunts can hit them with their Infest and take them out. We do not see a snowball of Fiends going down yet, so those Sabers in the back are still doing a pretty good job, although now here we do see it. Indeed, some Fiends on the chase for those Sabers now, trying to get out of there. A few sacrificial Argents, as we see a Dragon flying above as well. So this composition, we see some Hellborns added to it. There are less Weavers, of course. They did their job, which was to tank. There are less Brutes, again, also did their job to tank. And it looks like the Infernal army is going to want to push forward, looking for other bases, still not finding one here. Garnath again playing sort of a lower economy game, which is not really as common in Celestial. Usually you see them taking a few extra bases with more cores around the map, maybe even a hidden base. And what do we have over here? Oh, it's just a scout tree. But in terms of bases, Elf is got the bases. Elf's on 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the double one and the double one. So let's call that 5 and 6. And Garnath, well, again, going for that prism style with extra arc stations, mining from these a little bit more conservatively. We do see a collection array floating down from the expended mine from up above. Alright, with Sabers able to shoot these units from the other side of the trees, they decide, okay, why don't we retreat back? The single Kree getting up on top of these imps, trying to get some kills. A whole army coming back to say, hey buddy, those are our imps. Although now it looks like just the Fiends are going to go and finish them off after they made their threatening posture. And heading right back up Let's see if Elf is going to try and put some damage onto these bases now. She did have that nice victory over the army, but maybe a little bit concerned because the static defense in this game is pretty strong, and blast nodes are actually really good against an infernal army, so she maybe is concerned about that. And we just got a scan from Garnath, and I think what Garnath saw made him decide that it's probably best to just go back home again. Don't want to roll into that. Lots of good sabers here, but not a lot to, front line for them. Now we have some Argents coming in, as well as some sides being added. I do like that because they can take care of some of the air units, or at least can help take care. I don't know if they're actually considered to be anti-air. I think they do extra bonus damage to heavy, so they're not going to necessarily help with the Spriggans. Now we finally see a battle. The Spriggans coming down on top of this right-hand side. Meanwhile, the Hellborns raining down on the top. The army from the top managing to take out that Weaver. But this larger ball of Gaunts is moving up upon the sides and the Sabers on the right-hand side and managing to take out most of them. And that's a GG from Garnath. Alright, that looks like it's a quick 2-0 from Elf. Let's go into another series.